credit builder loan for you. Actually, they probably have a better option for you because you have better credit. But this is something that you can do to build your credit without using credit cards or getting a credit card. How else can you do so? So, personal loans, credit builder loan, right? Auto loan. Yep, you get an auto loan. It's not a credit card. That's going to help build your credit. Same thing like the personal loan. It's going to report every month. You're going to make those payments every month. That longevity that you have, we talked about, it being 60-month loan or 6-year loan or even 84-month loan. That's going to help you build your credit score. It's absolutely going to help you build your credit score. So you can get an auto loan, and it doesn't matter how big or how small that particular loan is. So some individuals think the bigger the loan is, the more quote unquote credit or points that you get because it's a bigger loan. Because I had a $35,000 car. Because I had an $85,000 car. That has nothing to do with anything. All they care about is that you actually made the payments on time every time. That's what they care about. So if you got to finance yourself a $2,500 car, then you finance yourself a $2,500 car. Your payment's $25 a month for the rest of your life or whatever it is. That is what's going to help you build your credit, is making those payments on time. It's not about the amount that you actually finance. It's not about that amount that you actually finance. A friend of mine, and I didn't even have this in my notes, but I'm thinking about it. A friend of mine was going about building his credit. He actually really wasn't concerned about building his credit, but he was going to buy this vehicle, and but he had cash. He had a lot of cash to put down on this vehicle. I don't remember how much it was, but what he did was he put down a chunk, more than he decided to finance, but he put down a big chunk of cash on his vehicle, and he decided to go ahead and finance like $15,000. So he did that. It helped him build his credit. It helped him build his credit because then he just made those payments every month on that $15,000. And of course, since he put down a huge down payment or whatever, that payment was nowhere near what it would be if he just financed the entire vehicle in itself. But he did it, even though he had that 15 grand. He could have just bought the car cash. He decided not to help himself build some credit. He went ahead and he financed that last $15,000 right there at the dealership. Did it just right there. So an auto loan can absolutely help you build your credit. A mortgage, just like any of the other ones we just mentioned. A personal loan, an auto loan, a mortgage will absolutely help you build your credit. Same thing. You got your payments, you got your payment history on it. That credit length is going to be long eventually because you're going to finance your mortgage typically, 15 years. They're doing some 20 years now. Maybe you do it on 30 years. So that longevity that you have, the longer that you have that mortgage, it's going to help you with your credit score. So you have all of those things lined up that help you with your credit and your credit score that have absolutely nothing to do with a credit card. Nothing to do with a credit card. So all of those entities you get to do. Now, when you're doing this, it's helping you with your payment history, right? Here's another thing you need to do to actually keep a good credit score, especially if you're not utilizing that pillar with the credit cards and credit utilization. You need to make sure that you have a great payment history, right? You got to make sure you have a great payment history. You got to stay free of any kind of collections because it's absolutely going to hurt you if you get a collection. It's going to hurt you 60 points or so if you get a collection. So you got to stay clear of all collections. And that's things that are not on your credit report beforehand. So, you have a phone, you have a cell phone. It's not on your credit report. It's not on your credit report. So if something goes wrong with that particular cell phone or utility bill or whatever, and it comes on your credit report, it only is coming on your credit report as a collection. That's a bad thing, right? So you're going to stay free and clear of any kind of collections. You also want to limit your inquiries. So inquiries is part of those 5 pillars of credit. And if you haven't got my book, 5 Pillars of Credit on Amazon, go get that ebook. Go get it today, $2.99. Go get that book, Five Pillars of Credit by Kevin King. So you got these 5 pillars, and inquiries are 10% of your credit score. And so you want to make sure that you steer clear of those as well. You don't want to apply everywhere that you go for different things, because it's going to hurt your credit score. So you can get deducted anywhere from 2 to 10 points for each inquiry. And that's whether you're approved or you're denied. They're going to take those points for you because they're going to take those points from you because you get those inquiries are the main thing that they're looking at. They don't care if you're approved or you're denied. It's just the fact that you apply for credit somewhere, anywhere, and that's why you're getting those points taken off of your credit report. Now, it's only been asked to me maybe once or twice. So how do they decide if I get 2 points or if I get 10 points taken away from my credit report for this a particular inquiry? I have yet to find data that suggests or says definitively how they decide that. If it's 2 points, if it's or whatever. I have not seen that definitively. What I have seen is places like or when you're trying to get a mortgage, that's going to take more points from you on an inquiry when you're trying to get a mortgage, which is also why if you're going to apply to several places for a mortgage, you want to do so within 14 days of your first time applying, so it'll count against you as just one credit inquiry, even if you went to 7-8 different places. So, because you don't want to do it and then 3 weeks from then you go again and apply for a mortgage with someone else. Now, here's the caveat to that: the newer credit, the newer credit, the newer credit scores will give you even more grace than 14 days. But oftentimes you just never know what they're looking at. So you get more than 14 days technically. You can get 30 days actually. So make sure if you're going to do that, that's where you do it, because you don't want to get all those inquiries. You don't want 10 points coming off for every time you apply for a mortgage. So you've made up your mind. You're going to actually buy a home. You apply for a mortgage. You got the first person. You think it's a good deal, but maybe you want to check and make sure it's a good deal. Maybe it's a better deal somewhere else and you want to try 2 or 3 more other places. Knock yourself out. Just do them in a timely manner, right? So you want to limit those inquiries. And if you're avoiding credit cards for whatever reason, because it doesn't mean that, you are, bad with, making that monthly payment or whatever it is. Maybe you just financially astute and you don't want to pay 20% interest rate for anything. So you just want to avoid credit cards. You can still become, what's my favorite thing? An authorized user. You can still become an authorized user. You don't have to actually hold that card. You don't have to actually use that card, but you can use somebody else's good credit on that particular card to help you with your credit score. So this is all about building credit without credit cards. You don't have to use that card. You don't. All it is going to come in your name, and you're authorized user on it. You get the benefits of whatever that limit is, whatever the balance is, and you get to create yourself a credit utilization, but you're not necessarily using a credit card. So this is the one that the one point that is directly talking about credit cards and still utilizing them without actually utilizing those credit cards. So you can become an authorized user and you get all those benefits without actually having, I'm putting up air quotes in the studio, without actually having credit cards. So you can do that as well when it comes to your credit. Let's recap right quick. You building your credit without credit cards. Personal loan, credit builder loan, mortgage, auto loan, and then you want to make sure, and you're of course authorized user, and you want to make sure that you're watching out for that payment history. You're steering clear of those inquiries, so you want to limit those as well, and you absolutely don't want to get any collections. Now here's something else that you can actually do to help you, and it's technically a credit card. It's technically a credit card, but a place like American Express. Amex also has a charge card. There's absolutely a difference between a charge card and a credit card. Credit card, you get the, whatever the interest rate is, you make that payment every month, the interest is compounded, etc. That's why it takes you so long for you to pay off that credit card. A charge card, like American Express has, is where whatever you charge this month, you got to pay it off whenever that due date comes. Whatever you charge this month, you're going to pay it off whenever that due date comes from. Now, that's a charge card. That's a charge card that does not impact that second pillar that we typically talk about, your credit utilization. It's a charge card, not a credit card. So there is a difference when it comes to that. So make sure you know the difference. And you can get an American Express charge card, and that'll help you with your credit as well. So it's technically not a credit card, right? So that's just a little hint for you, all right? Let me throw out these these shout outs right quick, and then we're going to get into this protecting yourself from fraud right quick. All right. So, did I get Queese a shout out? Jacquees Woodruff. She is celebrating her birthday coming up. So, happy birthday to you, Queese. Sharon Donaldson celebrates her birthday coming up this week. So, happy birthday to you, Sharon. Snoop. Nope. Not the Snoop that you know, but my man Snoop, Robert Taylor, my one of my old college roommates, is celebrating his birthday coming up this week. So happy birthday to you, Snoop. Paul Downing. Yes, Paul Downing is celebrating his birthday. You guys know Paul Downing, especially if you've been riding with me from the beginning of State Farm fame. He used to sponsor the show. Hey, Paul, happy birthday to you. One of my frat brothers as well. Hey, come on back, man. Come on back. Sponsor the show again. We'd love to have you back. So happy birthday to you, Paul Downing. Tanya Hall, the fabulous Tanya Hall, is celebrating her birthday on the 23rd. A member of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority. So happy birthday to you, Tanya Hall. All right. So let's talk a little bit about protecting yourself from fraud. And the reason this came up this week was because a young lady contacted me because somebody she know just discovered that they are a victim of fraud. This person does not utilize credit at all. Doesn't utilize credit. So, of course, they're not a listener to the 800 Credit Score Man show. They don't utilize credit. And it's a younger person. So, since they don't utilize credit, they really had no use for checking their credit scores or checking their credit reports and anything of that nature. And then all of a sudden, they needed to use some credit. Now, that's a whole different story because, not having any credit is just as bad as having bad credit. But this person needed to use some credit for something, and they went to do so, and they were denied. And they didn't understand. Why in the world am I being denied? Never mind the fact they could have just been denied because they don't utilize credit at all. But they were being denied because they had all of these things on their credit report that they had no idea was on their credit report. None whatsoever. So this brought this whole fraud thing up for me to come and talk to you guys about it, and to remind you that checking your credit report is its own form of fraud intervention. You can see when somebody is messing with your credit. You can see when somebody starts looking at your credit, and perhaps you can stop it before they actually get that loan or whatever it is, before they actually get that refrigerator or whatever it is they're trying to do. You can stop it because you'll be able to see it. You can at least make a phone call to somebody or whatever, right? So I'm going to remind you guys again, check your credit reports. Because of COVID-19, you can check your official credit report from each one of the 3 credit bureaus every week. Every week you can check your credit report. So make sure that you go check it, www.annualcreditreport.com. I think I might get a tattoo that says www.annualcreditreport.com because I say it so often because it's so important. You can go there and you can get TransUnion, you can get Equifax, and you can get Experian. Will you get a credit score? No. But you'll get your official credit report and you can go through it, look at it, dissect it, do all of those things, all right? So make sure that you go get your credit reports. Now, what are you supposed to do if you are a victim of fraud? Well, one of the first things you need to do is to get a police report. You need to call the police department. Don't call 911. It's not an emergency, right? Call the police department. Tell them what's going on. They'll give you to the fraud division and what have you. You give your story. Get that case number. Get that case number because you're filing a report. Get that police report. So make sure you call and you do that. One of the other things you want to do, you want to immediately put a freeze on your credit reports. put a freeze on your credit reports. And you can do your freeze. You can call all three of the credit bureaus and say you want a freeze put on your credit report, because you don't want anybody access